Here is something that will change how you think about your mornings forever. While you slept last night, your body lost somewhere between half a liter and a full liter of fluid. Not through sweat, not through anything dramatic, just through breathing. Just through your skin doing its job while you were completely unconscious. And here's the part nobody tells you. That fluid was not just water. It was water loaded with the single most important mineral your brain and muscles depend on to function: sodium. By the time your alarm went off this morning, your body was running on a deficit. A real, measurable, physiological deficit. And what you did in the next 10 minutes either fixed it or made it worse. Most people made it worse. Let me explain what is actually happening inside you every single night. Your body never stops working. Even when you are in the deepest stage of sleep, your cells are burning energy. Your heart is pumping. Your lungs are expanding. Your brain is consolidating memories and running maintenance cycles. All of that requires fluid, and you are losing it constantly. Every breath you exhale carries water vapor out of your body. Your skin releases moisture through a process called transepidermal water loss. This is not sweating. This is passive, continuous, and unavoidable. Research in sleep physiology estimates this overnight loss at 400 to 800 milliliters, depending on your body size, the humidity of your room, and how much you breathe through your mouth. That is roughly 1 to 2 pounds of fluid gone by morning. But fluid loss is never pure water loss. Water carries electrolytes with it, and the primary electrolyte you are losing is sodium. Not just a trace amount, enough that your kidneys have been actively compensating for hours while you slept. Your kidneys are remarkable organs. They filter about 180 liters of blood plasma every single day, and they reabsorb over 99% of the sodium that passes through them. While you slept, your kidneys were quietly dialing up sodium reabsorption to keep your blood volume stable. They were working overtime to manage a deficit you did not know you had. So you wake up. You are dehydrated and sodium depleted. And most people reach for a big glass of plain water. Seems logical, right? Replace what you lost. Here's the problem. When you flood your body with plain water on an empty stomach after 8 hours of sodium loss, you are adding fluid volume without replacing the mineral your body just spent all night conserving. This can temporarily dilute the sodium concentration in your blood even further. In exercise science, this is well documented. It is called exercise-associated hyponatremia, and it is the reason marathon runners who drink only plain water during long races sometimes end up in medical tents with headaches, confusion, nausea, and in severe cases, brain swelling. Now, you are not running a marathon, but the principle applies. Your blood sodium is already lower than optimal after a night of losses. Pouring plain water on top of that deficit does not fix the problem. It shifts the ratio in the wrong direction. This is exactly why the World Health Organization built their oral rehydration solution around a specific formula. Not just water. Water plus sodium plus a small amount of glucose. Because they discovered decades ago that the small intestine has a transport mechanism called the sodium-glucose cotransporter. And this mechanism pulls water into your bloodstream far more effectively when sodium is present alongside it. Plain water rehydrates you, but water plus sodium rehydrates you faster and more completely. This is not a wellness theory. This is cellular transport physiology that has been taught in medical schools for generations. Now let me tell you something about sodium that almost nobody connects to their morning routine. Sodium is not just a hydration mineral. It is the mineral that makes your nervous system work. Every thought you have, every movement you make, Every sensation you feel depends on something called an action potential. This is the electrical signal that travels along your nerve fibers. And action potentials are generated by sodium rushing into nerve cells through specialized channels. When your sodium levels are even slightly suboptimal, those signals fire more slowly. Your reaction time gets worse. Your ability to concentrate drops. That brain fog you feel in the first hour of waking up is not just about sleep inertia. It is partially about running your neural network on depleted electrolytes. There is a reason elite athletes obsess over sodium intake before training. It is not just about preventing cramps. It is about optimizing nerve conduction velocity, the speed at which signals travel from your brain to your muscles and back. You are not an elite athlete, but your brain still needs to fire properly every morning. And giving it the raw material it needs to do that is one of the simplest performance upgrades available to you. There's another layer to this that makes the timing of your morning drink genuinely important. In the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up, your cortisol levels spike by somewhere between 38 and 75%. This is called the cortisol awakening response, and it is one of the most reliable hormonal patterns in all of human biology. Decades of research have confirmed it across every population studied. Cortisol gets a bad reputation because people associate it with chronic stress. But in the morning, this spike is not harmful. It is essential. Cortisol mobilizes stored energy. It raises your blood sugar to feed your brain. It prepares your body to function in the waking world. Here's where it gets interesting for our topic. Cortisol works hand in hand with another hormone called aldosterone. And aldosterone has one primary job. It tells your kidneys how much sodium to keep and how much to release. A 2022 study from the University of Constance, published in Psychoneuroendocrinology, confirmed that aldosterone has its own awakening response. It spikes after you wake up, just like cortisol. And it is influenced by how long you slept and your chronic stress levels. So picture what is happening in your body every morning. You wake up sodium depleted from overnight losses. Your cortisol is surging to mobilize energy. Your aldosterone is surging to manage sodium balance. Your kidneys are recalibrating. And then you either give your body what it needs, or you pour plain water into the system and force it to work even harder. This is why salt water works. Not because of any magic, not because of a trend, but because it matches what your physiology is actually asking for. When you dissolve a small amount of sodium chloride in water and drink it first thing in the morning, you are doing three things simultaneously. First, you are replacing the sodium your body lost overnight. This allows your blood volume to normalize faster and takes pressure off your kidneys, which no longer have to compensate as hard. Second, you are supporting your nervous system directly. Adequate sodium means your nerve cells can generate action potentials at full speed. Your brain fog clears faster. Your reaction time improves. Your ability to focus sharpens. Third, you are making the hydration itself more efficient. Sodium in your gut activates the sodium-glucose cotransporter, which pulls water into your bloodstream more effectively than plain water alone. You rehydrate faster and more completely. There is even a fourth benefit that rarely gets mentioned. Sodium chloride is made of sodium and chloride is one of the two raw materials your stomach uses to produce hydrochloric acid. This acid is what breaks down protein in your food and kills pathogens. Adequate chloride intake first thing in the morning supports your stomach's ability to produce this acid at healthy concentration levels throughout the day. One simple drink. 4 physiological systems supported. I want to be honest with you. I did not just read about this. I tested it. For 30 days straight, I drank salt water every morning before anything else. No coffee, no food, just 400 milliliters of room temperature water with a quarter teaspoon of dissolved sea salt, consumed within 15 minutes of waking up. The first 3 days, I did not notice much. By day 5, something shifted. My usual morning brain fog started clearing faster. Not dramatically, but noticeably. By the second week, I was waking up with more energy and reaching for coffee later and later. By week 3, my focus during the first 2 hours of work was measurably sharper. I was getting more done before 10 a.m. than I used to get done before noon. The most unexpected change was in my digestion. My stomach felt more settled after breakfast. I was absorbing food better. And by week 4, I realized I had not had a single afternoon energy crash in over 10 days. This is not a clinical trial. This is one person's experience, but it aligned perfectly with the physiology. Here's exactly how to do this. Take a glass of room temperature water, around 300 to 500 milliliters. Add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, not a heaping quarter teaspoon, a level 1. That is approximately 575 milligrams of sodium. Your kidneys handle this amount effortlessly. They process thousands of milligrams of sodium every single day. Stir until fully dissolved. Drink it within 15 to 20 minutes of waking up, before coffee, before food, before anything else. Now, what kind of salt? Here is where I want to cut through the noise. The difference between Himalayan pink salt, Celtic sea salt, and regular sea salt is real, but minor. Himalayan salt has trace amounts of iron, potassium, and magnesium. Celtic salt has slightly more moisture and mineral content, but the primary ingredient in all of them is sodium chloride, and that is what matters for this purpose. What you want to avoid is heavily processed table salt with added anti-caking agents and stripped of trace minerals. It still works for sodium replacement, but you lose the minor trace mineral benefits. If you have access to unrefined sea salt or Himalayan salt, use that. If all you have is table salt, it will still do the job. One important detail. Some people prepare what is called soul water. You fill a jar with salt and water, let it sit overnight until no more salt dissolves, and then use 1 teaspoon of that saturated solution diluted in a full glass of fresh water each morning. This gives you a consistent concentration every time. Either method works. The principle is the same. If you want to take this one step further, add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, about half a lemon. This does 2 things. First, the citric acid in lemon supports your stomach's acid production alongside the chloride from the salt. Together, they give your digestive system a stronger start to the day. Second, you get a dose of vitamin C, which is an antioxidant your body cannot produce on its own. Morning is a good time for it because cortisol-induced oxidative stress is highest in the first hour after waking. The taste is also significantly better. Salt water on its own can be unpleasant. Lemon makes it genuinely refreshing. And when something tastes good, you are more likely to do it consistently. Consistency is where all the real benefits live. I have a responsibility to be clear about this. If you have diagnosed high blood pressure that is not well controlled, do not add extra sodium to your routine without talking to your doctor first. If you have any form of kidney disease, your kidneys may not handle additional sodium the way healthy kidneys do. If you have congestive heart failure, sodium management is medically critical and must be guided by your physician. If your doctor has specifically told you to restrict sodium, listen to your doctor, not a YouTube video. For the average healthy adult without these conditions, a quarter teaspoon of salt in water is a physiologically trivial amount. Your kidneys process far more sodium than this on a normal day. But medical conditions change the math. Always prioritize professional medical advice over general wellness content. Salt water in the morning is not a standalone hack. It works best as part of a deliberate morning sequence. Here is what the evidence supports. Wake up, drink your salt water within 15 minutes, then wait at least 30 to 45 minutes before coffee. This allows your cortisol awakening response to complete its natural arc without caffeine compounding the sodium loss through its mild diuretic effect. If you practice intermittent fasting, salt water does not break your fast. It has 0 calories and no macronutrients. It actually supports your fasting state by maintaining electrolyte balance during the extended fasting window. And here is something I did not expect to learn. Proper morning hydration appears to improve sleep quality the following night. The mechanism is straightforward. When you start the day well hydrated, your body does not spend the afternoon and evening playing catch-up. Your evening cortisol decline happens more smoothly, and your body enters sleep in a more balanced state. One small choice every morning, 365 days a year, working with your biology instead of against it. Your body already knows what it needs. It has been running this sodium-conserving, cortisol-spiking, aldosterone-adjusting sequence every single morning of your entire life. You just were not aware of it. Now you are. A glass of water, a pinch of salt, 2 minutes of your time. Before the coffee, before the phone, before the chaos of the day starts pulling you in 12 different directions. Give your body what it is already asking for, and let everything else about your morning follow from there. If this kind of evidence-based breakdown is something you want more of, this is what we do here. No trends, no hype. Just the actual science behind the habits that genuinely work. Subscribe if you want to see more of it.